Welcome back to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast. Tonight we are recording episode 156, I hope.
That's
I
correct.
didn't check the episode number, so I'm just going by what's on the notes. NHL Fantasy Preview for week 15. This is also the week of January 15th. 14th is last week. I should have figured that out by now. I'm your host, Bruce Gunther. Joining me this evening from, I'm not sure, I think it's Marky's house, John Enns.
Howdy.
And joining us from his basement, Devon Davidson.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing tonight?
I need a nap.
I was going to say, I'm doing all right, but yeah, could always use a nap.
I'm with you, Bruce.
And I could use a new knee. My knee is still bothering me.
Oh, no.
Bruce, you're too old to play sports.
I was chasing a dog, actually.
That's why I don't have pets.
That's so much worse.
I was playing with a friend's dog, was chasing a ball around, and I went to make a cut or change direction, and something didn't feel good, and yeah, it blew up like a balloon. So it's been 3 weeks now. It's better. The swelling is gone, but it's still sore. I got to go back and get a follow-up done on it. But I don't think anyone really wants to hear about my wonky knee. So,
well, we wish you a speedy recovery anyway, Bruce.
Yes.
Or someone was take me out back and club me over the head and just.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to John's list?
Sure.
All right.
We can do that.
So if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you're undoubtedly familiar with John's list. It's John's shit list of players, past and present. We throw in the occasional commissioner, GM, coach, or newsworthy topic from around the world. This week, John's victim is...
Offside reviews. Total trash. If you can't tell within the first, 30 seconds, it just becomes a complete waste of time after that. That should basically just be used for things that are blatantly obvious and leave it at that. It sucks the life out of the game. It sucks the life out of watching at home. It sucks the life out of everything.
So is this actually offside, or was this more of a possession thing?
It was an offside review.
Is it? I always think when they talk about crossing, it's whether he has possession across the line. It's like, okay, if the puck isn't touching his stick, is it possession or it isn't? And they can't decide on that on a regular basis either.
Yeah. And that's why I'm still miffed about this, Bruce, is because there's been a lot of comparisons. People have talked about the Makar offside, and then they've talked about this one recently with Draisaitl. And, I mean, they claim that Makar was onside, right? He had possession of the puck. And if that's possession, then why isn't Draisaitl's possession? Because he's got it on his stick, essentially. And his blade, from what I could tell from certain angles, was at least still across the blue line, right? So still touching the blue line.
So the referees hate the Oilers. Is that what we've pretty much come to decide?
No, I think the issue is that there's just a lack of consistency, right? So it's like you're going to call it onside here, you're calling it offside here, but they're so similar. And I think what gets me, and I agree with you, John, is it really... Does that have anything to do with the play that happened 30 seconds later? Like, if you're going to call it to the letter of the law, I guess. But it just totally is not in the spirit of why that rule was created. It's like you said, it has to be blatantly obvious. And if it's not, then why are we spending 15 minutes reviewing? Like, they're looking for reasons to call the goal back as opposed to, okay, it wasn't blatantly offside. The call on the ice was it was onside. Let's move on with our lives, right? They're like looking for that exact angle to say, okay, now we have some evidence to call this goal back, which it doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind.
Yeah, to me, it was just the amount of time that it took.
15
if you couldn't
minutes.
come to a conclusion in a shorter period of time, then it's too close to call, in my opinion.
They get 5 minutes after that. If whatever it is, it's how it's cold. It's however it's called on the ice. Period.
Yeah. Like I'm almost okay with that. You know, the only time it, like you said, is if it's a Matt Duchene type situation.
Exactly what I was going with.
But the game happens so quickly, right? And fans don't want to see offense come off the board. And it just seems like it's another tool in the belt of the coaches on the bench, right? It's I just find it frustrating, to be honest. But
Yep.
so I'm with you.
All right, so we're refs are on the ref, or it's not the referees, but it's the what do they call that place? The command center.
The command center. Yeah, it comes from the
Is it-
NHL. It's and
Is that what
Connor
they call
said
it?
it too.
Is that the CFL?
No,
call
well, or the control room, whatever they call it, or they're like back in Toronto, right, in their war room, whatever they want to call
Whatever
it.
they call it, yeah.
Doesn't really matter. But the point is, at the end of the day, it comes from somebody not in the building, not on the ice, reviewing tape, and I do feel bad for the officials too, because it's really not their call. And Connor said as much the other day. Like it has nothing to do with the linesmen, the officials. It's not their call. They make the call on the ice, and then it gets overturned or not from Toronto.
Yeah.
They need those high definition satellite cameras they have on all those TV shows where they can like see an ant walking on a sidewalk from like 20 miles from the satellite, 20 miles in orbit. They need those cameras.
You know, I mean, we're not going
Yeah,
to solve the problem tonight, right? But I just,
The ant would still be offside though.
yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. All right, let's move on. Fantasy lock of the week. All right, we've got a couple on here, and Devon's got another one he wants to add, so we'll let Devon go first with his.
Well, I just want to give the Edmonton Oilers a bit of credit, right? Of course, we all know I'm a giant homer. So is John. So is Bruce. So is Tyler.
What?
That's fine. But we got to give the Edmonton Oilers some love. They just set a new franchise record, 10 straight victories. To do it in the fashion they've done it the last couple of games here, a tight game against Chicago, what really many of us thought should not have been a tight game against Chicago, and then against Montreal, to come back and tie it fairly late, and then to get that win in overtime was big. So that's all Connor wanted for his birthday. He got his birthday wish. Let's hope they can make it like 12 or 15 or 20 in a row.
And they're now 1 point behind the Kings for third place.
Yes, they are.
I was reading that this afternoon. It's like, holy crap.
Well, a big part of that is what's the losing streak now for LA? They've lost a pile of games here recently.
I think they've lost 7 in a row or 8 in a row, something like that now.
Yeah.
They broke Cam Talbot.
Dude's trash.
There's not a whole lot of options behind Talbot either there in LA. Copley's out for, I think, the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who's the next goalie up, but I think they're going to pretty much have to ride Talbot into the ground if they haven't already.
Oh yeah, they're hurting.
Anyway, let's move on here. So for the non-Oilers homers, we've got a couple guys here on here. So first one is Elias Pettersson from the Vancouver Canucks. So he's rostered only 99% in Yahoo. Not sure why it's only 99%, but 100% in Fantrax. Pettersson had a great week. He had 9 points, 5 goals, 4 assists, including 3 game-winning goals, 1 power play point on 14 shots on goal. He played just under 20 minutes tonight, including 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the power play. So he had a good week.
Yeah.
Canucks had a good week too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, they've had a good week, and Pettersson's looked great this year. I take back all the mean things I said about him, Bruce, last year.
That's probably why he's doing so well. He's motivated.
I don't take them back.
Devon spited me. I'm going to make him.
Yeah, 0% chance that's the case. But no, he's looked really good.
For sure. All right. 2 honorable mentions this week. Blake Coleman of the Calgary Flames and Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes. Both had 7 points this week, 4 goals, 3 assists in 4 games.
Let's not talk too much about Blake Coleman because he falls under our waiver wire targets. But yeah, kudos to him. He's been fantastic.
He's having a great season.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's okay. Devon's already picked him up everywhere. So
I have not actually. That's one waiver wire ad I probably missed out on. So
Tyler's listening. He's hitting it up right now.
he's listing from Arizona. Yeah, there you go.
Where it's plus 30 instead of minus 30.
Minus 50.
Minus 50 with the wind chill. All right. Let's move on to edge work here. NHL schedule for week 15. This is the segment where we put in the work to give you the edge in your fantasy hockey leagues. Each week, the Hacks will cover the NHL schedule, waiver wire targets, and guide you to victory. Things to know for week 15. Small change in the format this week. There is still 3 full days and 4 light days. Light days are 50% or fewer teams in action. This week, Monday is a full day and Tuesday is a light day. There is a total of 53 games on the schedule this week. Monday's got 10 games. Thursday's also has 10. Saturday has 12. The remaining days of the week are considered light days. I really didn't word that well, did I? I'll have to fix that.
That's okay, Bruce. We got the point.
In terms of attempting to optimize the schedule for games played, 13 teams play 4 games next week. I am not reading them all out. Of those teams, only the New York Islanders play 3 of their 4 games on off nights. Also, 2 teams of interest, Chicago and Detroit, play all 3 of their games this week on off nights as well. The teams to fade this week, Columbus, Pittsburgh, and Winnipeg, as they only play 2 games each. So a quick recap. Monday's got 10 games. Tuesday's 8. Wednesday's 3. Thursday's 10. Friday is 4. Saturday is 12. And Sunday is 6 games. You can check the show notes to see how the teams all lay out here for teams that play 4 games, 3 games, and 2 games. There are no teams this week that play a single game.
Should mention, Bruce. Sorry. I was going to say there's only 3 teams that played 2 games. Everybody else is 3 or more, right? So yeah. Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Winnipeg are the only teams that played twice.
Yeah. Right. I think I said that, didn't I?
Maybe you did. Maybe I wasn't listening.
All right. Let's just say we did and move on.
Okay.
Next, we'll move on to waiver wire targets here for week 15. Waiver wire targets will be focused on the players that are rostered in 50% or less of Yahoo or Fantrax leagues. When considering players to target, we review recent performance, player deployment, upcoming schedule, and more. Our first guy on the list here just came off of IR, and that would be Mr. Jaden Schwartz. He is center left wing eligible for the Seattle Kraken. Rostered 15% in Yahoo, 37% in Fantrax. They've got 4 games this week. They have 3 games on the road at Pittsburgh, at the Rangers, and at the Oilers, and they are home to the Maple Leafs. Apparently, he is not playing on a line, but he's playing with Alex Wenberg and Brandon Tanev.
Line number 2.
Power play 1.
Line number 2.
Line 2. Okay.
There you go.
It's a bit of an up and down season for Mr. Schwartz. 31-year-old has managed to post 4 points, 1 goal in his last 4 contests, and is currently playing at a 60-point pace over the full season. Role in the top 6, power play 1, and 4 games on the schedule. Add this man to your roster. Okay, I'll go do that. Who wants to talk about our next? He's from Seattle too. Who wants to talk about the next one?
I'll take this one, Bruce. There is definitely a Seattle theme to this episode. You'll notice that, and I would have added Joey Decord too, but I think we've talked about him lots on this podcast already. So next up here is Eeli Tolvanen, left wing, right wing, eligible for the Seattle Kraken. 46% rostered in Yahoo, 61% in Fantrax. Like you just mentioned, 4 games on the schedule for them. He's playing on line 3 with Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand, as well as on power play 1. 7 points, 2 goals in his last 5 games, and he's playing at a 55-point pace to date. Over that same stretch, he's a +3 and is providing some category coverage with nearly 2 hits per game. So there are some things to like about Eeli Tolvanen. But again, I think for me, it's more so just the volume of games for this week.
Good streaming option.
Yeah. And dual eligibility is always nice if you can find it.
Absolutely. I love the dual eligibility, especially with wingers, because I usually draft heavy and then I look, oh crap, I got too many one side or the other. So, John, you want to take the next one?
Sure, I can. Next up on here, we have Blake Coleman, center right wing, Calgary, rostered 74% Yahoo, 65% in Fantrax. 3 games this week, Arizona, Toronto, and Edmonton. Playing on the second line there with Backlund and Mangiapane. 15 points in his last 9 games. 15 points in his last 10 games, 9 of those being goals. And playing at a full 82 game pace of 71 points. Really, for a guy his age, it's odd to see him have a breakout year, but at 32 years old, he's doing fantastic. His previous career high is 22. Currently, he's at 22 goals. Currently, he's on pace for 36 goals over a full season. The guy's been doing really good and getting that power play 2 time as well.
He's like, I think we all kind of knew he's a pretty good depth player, right? Like, he's a guy who can play in your middle six and your top six if he had to. We just seeing what he did in Tampa a few years ago, and he's had stretches, but this is the first time that I can recall where he's had sustained offensive production, and now he's getting a role in the top six and some power play time, and it's good to see. You're gonna have a tough time finding him, but I felt like we had to talk about him at least a little bit.
Yeah, looks like he's 1 point away from his career high. So
I was going to say, did someone, did he slip you a 20 to get him into the wire for this week? It's 74%. I'm like, holy crap. It's like,
no, we missed the boat on Coleman, I think. Unless, did we talk about him recently, Bruce? I don't know if we did.
We have him one way or the other. I don't know whether it's been on this podcast or if it's been on the radio show, but we have talked about him.
Yeah. So this is probably last chance to grab him at 74% rostered in Yahoo. If this keeps up, he won't be available for very much longer.
Yeah.
I think his career high he set when he was playing for New Jersey. Because when he got traded, he was doing quite well offensively, and then when he got traded to Tampa Bay, then they moved him down the line.
Let's see.
While you're looking that up, I will move on to the next one.
Career high was last year.
What's that?
Last year, 38 points.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
In Calgary. Yeah. But he did play at a 46-point pace in Tampa in 2020, 2021. So that was his best rate of offensive production. But he only played in 55 games that year.
So I'm totally out to lunch then. Oh, well, that's about right for me.
Just FYI.
Just totally out to lunch. All right. Let's go on to Mason Marchment here, left wing for the Dallas Stars. Rostered 45% in Yahoo, 56% in Fantrax. They've got 4 games this week as well. They are at home to the LA Kings, on the road to the Flyers and Devils, as well as the Islanders. He is playing on line 2 with Matt Duchene and Tyler Seguin. He's also seeing some time on power play 2. Marchment's having a wonderful season for Dallas, finding chemistry with Duchene and Tyler Seguin on the Stars' second line and second power play unit. Marchment's on pace for 64 points this season and has produced 12 points, 4 goals over his last 8 games. Offers a bit of category coverage, nearly a hit a game. Shot rate is not ideal, as some underlying metrics show production is boosted by luck. It's not too bad, 17.5. That's not a bad-ish, not bad. I like it over 20, but 17 is not bad. And Tevich is at 12.3, which is also a little high as well. All right. Oh, I know. John wants to talk about the next guy here.
TJ Oshie. Sorry.
Does he actually
have on here? It's TJ Oshie.
Almost fell off his chair.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to move my computer mouse, and I guess I didn't actually have the sensor like over the table, so I was like, why isn't this working? Anyways, yes. TJ Oshie, rostered 6% Yahoo. Sorry, right wing. Washington, rostered 6% Yahoo, 14% Fantrax. Games this week against Anaheim and St. Louis twice. Playing on that first line with Max Pacioretty and Dylan Strome. Also getting time on power play 1. He's not young anymore. He's 37, but he finds himself playing in that top 6 with those two fine gentlemen there. He's got 2 goals in his first 3 games following an injury in mid-December. 14 shots on goal, so he's definitely putting the shots on net. 4.66 per game in that 3-game stretch. He's also getting some good category coverage as well with 1.29 hits a game and nearly 1 block a game as well. He's shooting a career low, he has a career low at 7.4%-ish, and the 4.6% Tevish would strongly suggest the second half surge could be coming for Oshie, assuming he can stay healthy.
You got to put him in a full body cast and just send him out there.
I mean, Bruce, he's 37, man. He's like that's almost ancient in player years.
Half of Washington Capitals are ancient.
They are.
But whenever I see him, I just think he never ages.
Oh yeah, he doesn't look old.
No,
he doesn't.
For some
He doesn't
reason,
look old. But
I always want to say he's 29.
Yeah,
every
but
year.
his body's got some. He's had a huge string of issues health wise here the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's
so?
unfortunate. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Which is too bad because, like you said, he's a hell of a player when he's healthy.
Yep.
It's really funny. I'm just looking at the standings again here, and Pittsburgh and Washington both have 46 points through 41 games played, a 20-15-6 record. The difference is that Pittsburgh is a +13 and Washington's a -26 goal differential.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
But saying that, they're only 3 points out of a playoff spot. So it seems it's jump ball right now. You know, basically between Detroit, Tampa, the Islanders, the Devils, the Penguins, and the Capitals. It's who's going to take it. It's going to be interesting to watch down the stretch.
Go Penguins.
Go Penguins.
There you go. All right, let's move on to defensemen here. First guy up is Adam Boqvist for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He is rostered a whopping 1% in Yahoo, 23% in Fantrax. They got a couple games this week. They are at home to the Canucks and the Devils. He's playing in the first pair with Damon Severson. Oh my God. Yikes. I also see he's on power play 1 as Mr. Orensky is still on IR. Boqvist has taken over power play 1 duties for the Columbus Jackets, averaging 65% power play share and 21:40 on time on ice. See here in the last 4 games. He's also posted 4 assists, 3 on the power play over that same 4-game stretch. Columbus is dealing with some injuries, but a top power play defenseman is hard to pass up at this point in the season. The downside for this week is just 2 games on the slate for Columbus. And yeah, they are just injury issues again. Lots of them.
For sure. Remember last week, Bruce and I said we were scraping the bottom of the barrel, and we were talking about Damon Severson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, now we're talking about Adam Boqvist. So there's really not a ton out there in terms of defensemen I can find.
Bruce can hardly even say Damon Severson.
Just looking at it, it's like
good old Sasky boy.
It's like, yeah, I know. All right. Who wants to do Mr. Larsson?
Sure.
All right, John.
Sticking with the Seattle theme we were talking about earlier, we have Adam Larsson, Seattle roster 39% in Yahoo, 15% in Fantrax. 4 games this week: Pittsburgh, New York, Edmonton, and Toronto. Playing on that first pairing with Vince Dunn. Adam Larsson, he's playing big minutes with Seattle on that top pairing and provides great category coverage, averaging 1.7 hits a game and nearly 2 blocks. Larsson also has 5 points, 1 goal over his last 7 games, and he's averaging just shy of 23 minutes a game. This one guy I really didn't want to see leave Edmonton, but here we are giving him praise in Seattle. He's just a fantastic player.
Just imagine for a second right now if you had Darnell Nurse and Adam Larsson as your first or second pairing as opposed to Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci.
Ugh, Cody Ceci.
It makes me sick, honestly.
Yeah.
And the fact that we lost Clefbaum for nothing, I wish him well, right? But just losing that pairing right there really hurt the Oilers. And we've been fortunate that guys like Kulak and Desharnais have been really good. Desharnais actually, by all like the advanced metrics, looks fantastic this year. And
he's improved greatly.
Yeah, by all accounts, the guys love him in the room. So big guy, works hard, cares, love to see it. They desperately need to upgrade Cody Ceci. That needs to be a priority at the trade deadline.
Yep, I agree. He's terrible.
Provides no offense to speak of. Defensively, I think he's probably just average. I haven't dug into his numbers, but just by the eye test, he hasn't been great, right?
Yep. So yeah, I miss Adam Larsson, but definitely pick him up. He'll get you them shifts.
There you go. Devon, you get Igor.
Oh man, this was a last minute entry.
And that's why I said I was getting Larsson, because I was like,
Yeah, again, scraping the bottom of the barrel. But Igor Zamula for the Philadelphia Flyers, rostered in 1% of Yahoo League, 16% in Fantrax. The saving grace for this guy here this week is really just a roll on the first power play unit and 4 games. They play St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado, and Ottawa. He's playing on the third pairing with Rasmus Ristolainen at even strength. 7 points, 2 goals in his last 11 games played, averaging just under 17 minutes per game, and 301 power play time on ice per game. That's just under 60% power play share. Probably just a nice depth add for the week, so nothing to get too excited about, but if you're desperate for a defenseman, he's going to give you a volume of starts and a role on that first power play unit.
There you go.
Nice.
Very nice. And if you're really super desperate for a defenseman, I just brought up the hot players for the weeks in scoring for defensemen. Take a while. You'll never guess who's number 2 this week. Nick Perbix of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He has 5 points in 3 games.
Who?
Gets no power play time whatsoever, but he is averaging just under 22 minutes a night.
There you go.
That would be your super desperation pick right there.
Interesting.
Well, thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, I would have never expected that. But then too, Sergachev is out, so he's probably getting some of that time. So, all right. Let us move on to goaltenders. First one on the list here is Mr. Antti Raanta, Carolina Hurricanes. He's rostered 30% in Yahoo, 32 in Fantrax. 3 games this week, all at home to the Kings, to Detroit, and Minnesota. We don't know if he's starting, backing up, or going to be on the IR by the end of this week. We're not sure. 2-0-1 in his last 3 appearances. Raanta has been impressive for the Hurricanes, posting a 1.18 goals against average and a .954 save percentage. Peter Kochetkov is currently dealing with concussion issues, and Freddie Anderson is still on the shelf. So basically, if you need a goaltender, go get Raanta if he's available, because he's really the only option Carolina has right now. There isn't their backup goalie is from the ECHL, so it's not a great situation there. So hopefully Raanta can stay healthy and get him through here till Kochetkov or Anderson returns.
And the Carolina Hurricanes have been good here. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10. They've won their last 2 games, plus 19 goal differential. They are second in the Metropolitan right now at 24-13-5. So just a solid team. And I think Bruce, we were talking about this on the last episode, or maybe the week before. Carolina has typically been a fantasy-friendly destination for goaltenders, and it's been a bit of a struggle for them lately. But it's good to see Raanta kind of land on his feet here in the past few games. So if you're looking for a boomer bust pick, I'd say that's a guy to go to.
Yep,
That's just it. You can't look at the numbers from the rest of the year. The ones he's put up here in the last few games, they've been good. So hopefully he can continue that.
Good 0G option.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, who wants to take the next one here?
I'll take this one, but Bruce, you should have taken it, because I just noticed maybe was that your team that picked him up in ESPN?
Yeah, I'm down to I'm literally down to a goalie. So
Nice.
because I had Kochetkov and then I had Wedgwood, but he's injured and now Ottinger's back, so
Yeah.
he's not worth anything. So I was down to a goalie. So it's like, all right, I need a goalie. Oh, look, he's starting tomorrow. I'll just pick him up to start the week, and then
Well,
I can figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the week.
the player in question is Anthony Stolarz for the Florida Panthers, rostered in 10% in Yahoo, 16% in Fantrax. 3 games on the schedule: Anaheim, Detroit, and Minnesota, all home games. As Bruce mentioned, he does have the start against Anaheim tomorrow. They are the 29th ranked team in the league at 2.5 goals per game. Should be a really nice matchup for him. He's been great for Florida this year, actually, with a 6-3-1 record, a 1.95 goals against, a .923 save percentage, and he stopped 47 of 49 shots over his last 2 games. Looks to be a very nice pickup, Bruce. I'm sure that's going to pay off in spades for you, buddy. What you're going to do beyond that start tomorrow, I'm not sure, but let's just hope that Bobrovsky falls off a cliff for you.
I'm going to have to. It's the wire goaltending is thin, real thin. I'm going to have to. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe go totally the 0G route. Go no goaltenders, just forwards.
All of your acquisitions can just be goaltenders.
Yeah,
every single day.
Yeah. That's what it was last week, except for one.
And I'm assuming Ranta's not available in our ESPN league.
Actually, I think he is.
Oh, Bruce, you better go grab him.
Yeah,
Well, we can take a quick break here while Bruce figures out what he wants to do with his roster.
Sure. It's okay. Tyler's not on tonight, so I don't have to worry about that. So
there you go.
All right. Is there any other goaltenders we want to add to that?
It's been tough. Like I kind of just looked through here quick again tonight, and I didn't see a ton for goaltenders, to be honest. But you guys tell me if you see. Like obviously, we've talked lots about Alex Lyon. We just saw him play the Oilers. He looked great again. If he's available, that's the guy you want to grab. Like we said, Joey Decord. Beyond that, I don't know what else.
Lindgren's back for Washington. He played both of the back-to-backs here against the Rangers and held in pretty good. They won the first one. They lost the second one, but only by 2-1 margin. So something to keep an eye there too, because Lindgren has been really good this year for Washington. Elvis is back in the building. He gets a start tomorrow too. See how long that lasts, or if he ends up somewhere else.
I would think, Bruce, he's probably on his way out. I was listening a little bit to the 32 Thoughts podcast, and they were talking about some of what he was saying, and he believes he's a number one starter in the league, right? And they've been giving Tarasov starts, and it's just, I don't know. That one to me feels like a situation that's going to get resolved sooner than later. He'll probably end up somewhere different, I would say. If not by the end of this season, for sure in the summer.
Yeah, because they're paying him a lot of money, and he should be playing, really. He should be. And there's a lot of teams that could use a goaltender.
Well, to be fair, Columbus is not a great destination for a goaltender at the moment, but
no,
definitely not. I do. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. Okay. Sorry, just checking out my fantasy lineup while you guys are talking.
I had a feeling. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good.
Bruce just spaced out for a moment. Where did he go? Oh, he's just checking his fantasy lineup. Not to worry.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Unless we got anything else, that's it for this week. So thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter or X at FHHacks and on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Don't forget to check out our live show, Hacks Hangout, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Mountain Time on EdmontonSportsTalk.com and on YouTube.com/Heavy Hockey. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye, Felicia.
Take care, guys.